Hi all. So the Angular 18 introduced the concept of zoneless applications. So basically the dependency of ZoneJS will be removed in a future version of Angular. As a first step, they have introduced an experimental feature where we can actually turn off the ZoneJS. So let's see today how we can do that. So here I have opened two applications in Angular 18 side by side. One which is making use of the ZoneJS and other which is experimentally turning off the ZoneJS. So for doing that, within the application configuration which we provide within the Bootstrap application, they have introduced a new function called provide experimental zoneless chain detection. So once we add this, it basically turns off the ZoneJS. Now let us go to the application, and within the application I have an app component.html which basically shows a div, and to this div we apply a style which will be changed dynamically. And also when we click on the button repaint, a repaint function is called which basically generates a new color and applies it to the div. So this is our original application which makes use of ZoneJS. So if you go to the code, you can see that in the ng on init, we are making use of multiple options which are available in the ng zone injectable. So some of these are on unstable, on stable, on microtask empty, on error. All these are triggered when actually ZoneJS runs in our application. So ZoneJS, as you know, it patches multiple browser APIs like set timeout, promise, all those kind of things. And basically it runs a chain detection when some of these are completed. So this is done automatically in the background and the user need not worry about that. So now if you see here in the console.log, you can see that multiple console messages are being logged, and you can see that whenever a micro task like a promise is executed, after that a do check or a chain detection lifecycle is automatically ran in the background. As you can see, the code does not do anything, but once these micro tasks or macro tasks like set timeout, once these are completed, a chain detection is all automatically run in the background by Angular. And all these zone callbacks are executed. As you can see here, zone became stable, which is executed within the on stable. Zone became unstable, that is within the unstable. And here no more micro tasks. It basically means that the queue has been flushed and all the micro tasks has been executed. So all these are internal to the ZoneJS. And now let's see what happens when we click on the button. So in the button repaint, what we are doing is we are changing the color and applying it to this div, and we are checking whether we are inside an Angular zone. So let's click on the button. Now you can see that the background color changed and all the zone related the callbacks are executed. So it first becomes unstable and it is saying that it is within the Angular zone, and after that it changes the color and it executes the chain detection. So once this is completed, all the other callbacks like micro task empty and zone stable is executed. So now let's see what happens in the same application when we turn off the ZoneJS. So let's go to the zoneless Angular application and refresh it. Now you can see that for the normal console messages which is displayed within the Angular ng on init, after that a chain detection is executed once the ng on init is completed. But for all the micro tasks and macro tasks like promise, set timeout, they get executed, but the chain detection does not run after this is completed. So basically, the ng zone is a dummy, no operational one, and whatever messages we have logged within this, it never gets executed. So one problem with this is that suppose we make some modification within this promise. So here what I am going to do is I am going to make a repaint here which basically means I want to change the color within this promise to. So once this promise to message comes, the color should be automatically changed and the change detection should be run. Okay. So now you can see that the color didn't actually change. Even though this code got executed, it is not reflected because the change detection has not been triggered. So previously in the older application, if we did this, what will happen is the change will get reflected. So here I have added a repaint. So what basically it does is it should redraw the color. So I am going to the zone application. And now you can see that actually the color gets changed twice. And here within the promise to, you can see that after the change is done, a do check is triggered, which reflects the change. So here in the zoneless application, it does not happen. And now what we need to do is, in case we need to make it reflected, we need to explicitly call the change detection. So here I have added a wrapper method, which basically does a cdr.mark for check, which will mark the component for a dirty check. So here I will replace the repaint with manual cd. And now if I refresh, you can see that the color is getting changed. And here after the promise, that is the second promise, we can see that there is a do check. So the change gets reflected within the view. So the same thing is applicable for any changes which happens within renderer.listen method, which basically attaches a event listener to a particular element. And here in this example, when we click on the main page, that is a div, we are planning to repaint it. So now let's see this, and this is already wrapped within the run outside Angular. So this run outside Angular will be a dummy one in case of a zoneless application. So it does not have any impact. It will just execute whatever is within this. So here, if we go to the application, I have refreshed this. Now, when I click on this, you can see that the log messages are coming, but there is no change in the view. So again, this is related to the change detection. Now, if we execute with the manual CD, you can see that when I click on the div, the color changes, and not only the repaint, but the change detection is also getting executed. So this was automatically done within our zone application. So here you can see that when I click on this, this is automatically getting changed, and within the zone application, I am just doing a repaint. Does not have a manual mark for check for the change detection. So these are some of the changes which we need to make when we convert from a zone-based application to a zoneless Angular application. So hope you are able to get some idea about the changes which we need to make while migrating from the ZoneJS to zoneless application. See you soon. Thank you.